Welcome to the Leadership Boost. Leadership Boost. Boosting your leadership into high performance with your host, Sean Smith. Updating you with the points and principles to sharpen your skill so you can make a difference and have an impact in whatever leadership role you find yourself in right now. Forget the fluff and get the stuff with Sean.
Good morning and welcome to Relationship Saturday with your host, Sean Smith. We are live on Facebook and we are live on the podcast, The Leadership Boost as well. Today I'm talking about something that kills marriage relationships quicker and more prevalent than anything else. Something that I've dealt with over the years, many marriage situations, many relationships that we've had to deal with in counseling and in coaching over the years. This is one of the areas that is something that begins to eat away at the relationship and destroys what you are building and destroys the intimacy, destroys going forward. So what is that thing? Well, let me first say welcome if you are on the replay. Great to have you with me again. I really appreciate you hopping onto the live broadcast with me. And if you are on the podcast, the Leadership Boost podcast, boosting your leadership into high performance, I'm on the podcast every day, Monday to Saturday, taking 10, 12 minutes of your time, sharing points and principles to help you become the leader, the full potential that you are called to be and to fulfill, also to step into high performance, make a greater impact, be transformational, engage people, build great teams, etc. But every Saturday I come onto my Facebook profile and I do something called Relationship Saturday because it's a relationship, and specifically your intimate, your significant relationship at home is a vital part of leadership. Whether you are in a position of CEO, C-suite, senior management, supervisor, whatever, or a business owner, your marriage relationship at home, your significant relationship at home contributes massively. You can be successful in your professional world, but you can be failing in your private world. But not only that, just generally, as if you're involved, if you have a relationship, if you're married, then these points can really help you to focus on the right thing, make adjustments, and move forward and build a great marriage and a great relationship. So let's talk about the one thing that kills more marriage relationships than you can imagine. Somebody said this: you can start the next chapter of your life. You can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. I love that quote. You can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. Hey, we in January 2020. This is like the first month. Well, we've actually not. We in February now. Wow. The month is gone. It's the 1st of February and January's gone. I've been doing a review of leadership elements on the podcast, and it's always a good time to do a review. But today, I'd like you to think about reviewing your relationship, your marriage relationship, your relationships at home, these important ones. And you know, we're starting a new decade, you're starting a new year. It may be that you want to start a new chapter. Maybe you need to start a new chapter in your marriage. You want to begin to move forward and build a quality relationship. It's time to do that. But the one thing that can kill your relationship more than anything else is trying to reread the last chapter, the last few chapters. It's time to start a new chapter, but not forgetting, but don't hold to the old chapters, the last chapters. You've got to move on. Winston Churchill said this: if we open a quarrel between the past and the present, we shall find we have lost the future. So my advice today, my inspiration to you today in your marriage relationship is learn from the past, but don't hold on to it. Learn the lessons from the past, but don't hold on to it. The past is your story, but never hold your relationship hostage to your story of the past. You know, I see this happen. I've seen this happen so many times over the years. What you said, you did, this is what, and so we keep reminding people, keep reminding our partner, keep reminding our spouse of the past. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. In other words, we get the wisdom of the past. We learn what we need to learn from the past. We can't forget it. That's why I corrected myself earlier. We can't forget the past, but we need to learn from it, but we can't stay in it. We can't camp there. We can't set up ourselves in that and constantly remind our spouse of the past. You can understand it backwards. And you know, it's easy to look back and say, well, we should have, we could have, we might have, you should have, you could have, you might have. It's easy in the wisdom of now to look back and say, that's what should have happened. But now you've matured so much more. You've grown, you've experienced, you've come through things. And now to look back and say, yes, we should have, we could have, we might have, if we had, all those kind of cliches we use and stereotypical quotations we bring upon ourselves and on our relationships, we can use those because we are where we are now. But when you were there, you didn't see it like that. You didn't react right. You didn't respond right. You acted wrong. You thought wrong. You stepped into the wrong attitude. You had the wrong mindset. You made the wrong decision. You made the wrong choice. But now you can look back and say, wow, I shouldn't have done that, but you did. So now it's good to look back and say, okay, I did that wrong and I did that right. Let me learn from that. So life can only be understood backwards, but you live forwards. Now is to create that new chapter. Now is to create the new experience, the new journey begins today, begins now. Whether you are on replay or you're live with me, it begins now. Why not? If not, why not? Don't bring up the past when dealing with issues of the present. Now that is a huge one. Here is where the kill button gets hit often in relationship. We bring up the past as we're dealing with the issues of the present. We've got to leave the past in the past. Learn what you've learned from the past, but don't hold your spouse, your partner, hostage to those lessons. Don't hold them hostage. Don't bring up the past when dealing with issues of the present. Let the one who is perfect and without fault cast the first stone. Let the one who is perfect and without fault cast the first stone. You know, we're imperfect people. We've made our own mistakes, done things wrong, and therefore, we are just as accountable, just as responsible for the past as our spouse. So it doesn't help to begin to throw accusations and blame now. Is we both contributed. It probably was a very emotional kind of situation. It could have been, probably was, and that drives a lot of behavior, a lot of action, a lot of thinking, a lot of decisions. And so leave it in the past. Besides the fact that you've got two people coming from totally different backgrounds, different cultures, each home is a culture on its own, each family. And so when you're marrying somebody, you don't go, oh, honey, it's just you and me in the world. No, you're getting the whole family, all the impact, all the life experiences they've been through in their family. You're marrying that, man. You are joining yourself to that. So there's this journey that you're going to go through of discovering who that person is and them discovering who they are. And so there's a growth process in that. And that's one of the things that's why we got to take time to understand our spouse. Understand. One of the things, I don't do counseling for marriages anymore. I actually have a journey that I go through with married couples or couples that are going to be married. And we go through various things to help them understand each other and communicate those things, because it's the things that we don't discuss and we don't know or we don't understand that actually begin to create the conflict. All right, so work on not repeating the past. Work on not repeating the reactions, the thinking, the mistakes, the habits, the decisions that are from the past. Work on rather building a quality future. Work on starting today. The journey is still long. And that's the thing about marriage is we plan weddings, but we don't plan marriages. We're in love. Anybody married that, has discovered that it doesn't quite work like that? Just we're in love, we're on honeymoon, and then suddenly life happens. And now we got to make decisions, we got to make choices. There's emotions. We get hungry, we get tired, we get irritated, we get stressed at work, we come home, boom. Now we need to have understanding. But we can start today building a quality future. We can start building a quality long-term relationship. Work on building a quality future, bringing up the past and the blame for the past only keeps the wounds of the past open. It never heals. Leave the mud in the past. Learn from it. So, the past is your story. Learn from it, but don't hold your future hostage to the past. Don't allow the present to become another emotional, volatile atmosphere because of the past. The past is the past. And one of the greatest things you can do, one of the best things you can do, one of the foundational stones of building a future is to forget the past. Let it go. Let the old wounds go. Put down the stones with your spouse's name on it. Bringing up the past and the blame for the past only keeps the wounds of the past open. And it hurts. And you're reigniting old hurts, old disputes, old arguments, and it won't help. Remember, in your marriage relationship, it's you and me versus the problem, not you versus me. It's not me and the past against you. And I'm trying to manipulate you to work with me because of the past. It's you and me facing the future. Dealing with what we got to deal with now. And let's face the future together. Always keep that in mind. We're a team. You and me. As married couples. Powerful marriages work for the future, not from the past. They work for the future, not from the past. It may have been a rough start, but it can be an amazing future. It may have been a difficult start. It may have been filled with all sorts of difficulties and problems and issues. But it's not how it starts that matters, but how it finishes. It's not that your wife is your love, that you fell in love then. It's how you end in love. Your undying, devoted, committed love to each other till your dying day. That's what counts. Don't constantly bring up what the past was, the journey, the difficulty there. Michelle and I started as very young. We got married very young. I was 21, she was 18. But we knew we were meant for each other. Waiting didn't make sense. So we got married. And I was prepared to commit myself to that relationship, to our relationship. And she was too. And it was rife with difficulties, with cultural clashes, value clashes. We didn't even understand. We didn't even understand what values were. We didn't even know what communication was. We were just committed. And I had to learn, and she had to learn, and I had to lead her in learning and helping her and getting myself through it and helping her through it as well. And so our first 3 years was nearly disastrous. We loved each other tremendously. We had great intimacy, so that we never allowed that area to be affected. But we were filled with dispute, with arguments, with dissension, with strife. The house was full of it. Our little apartment was full of it all the time. But yet we had committed ourselves to one another. If we had stayed in that atmosphere and said, yeah, you remember what you did, you remember what you said, remember, we would never, people actually said, we don't even know how you're still married. But we had committed ourselves. And so we left that behind. I don't even remember half the stuff we argued about. I don't even remember the difficulties, is because we began to build constantly towards the future. We still do. We married nearly 40 years now. And we are still committed to building the future with each other. Building forward, not going back. You've got to get that mindset out because it'll kill a relationship more than anything else. There's all sorts of things that can affect your relationship. But I'm telling you, when you're constantly reminding your spouse of the past, you're going to kill your relationship over time. You'll kill intimacy. You're opening a wound. You keep a wound open and you keep opening new wounds. Let it go. That's what I want to share with you today. So thank you for being with me. I appreciate the time that you spent with me. For those that have hopped on live, really great to have you with me. And for those that are going to be on the replay later, I hope you enjoy some of the decision making that you have to make right now. All right, so from me, it's over and out until next time. Monday morning, we'll be back with another episode of the Leadership Boost. So if you haven't subscribed to the Leadership Boost on Apple, I'm on 11 platforms. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go on to Apple or to Spotify or to Google. I think somewhere in my profile, there's a link to all the platforms that it shows up on that page, and you're welcome to join any of them. Subscribe to any of them. It will be really great to have you with me every day. Every day I share something to make your life better. All right. Until next time, thank you for being with me. Have a super weekend and God bless you.